Emotional scenes, Pezza, as David Warner walks off the SCG ground for the final time as a test player, just getting into, if there was one more caveat, I think less people would care, but it was emotional scenes as he walks off the field giving out LBW by Goffey, who hasn't had a great series, let's call that out straight away, and he packs his gloves into his lid and he waves goodbye to the adoring fans there at the SCG members as they're sipping on an oyster. That's what happens at the cricket at that ground, and he hands his kit, his gloves and his helmet to a young child and then runs away, and that is the gift of a lifetime. Now, unfortunately, the Qantas baggage handlers have already lost them, so expect to follow, if you can follow that kid's Instagram, he'll be putting out a message shortly as to try and get the whereabouts of his kit. But that's an allegation that certain lawyers have been struck off the bar for when representing certain alleged drug smugglers. But, you know, that's the beauty of this podcast, so that can happen. Pezza, that's the end of David Warner in white clothing against a red ball. How did it make you feel?
Oh, mate, well set up there. Look, I watched it. You know,
it was on. Yeah.
Oh, look, I suppose my abiding feeling was a 130 finish or something like that, and thinking like, what. 20 years ago, it harked back to Steve Waugh's final test match and other farewells at the SCG, Warne and McGrath, and to a lesser extent Langer. You just think, gee, that night will just crack on, wouldn't it? And they finished early, and I'm thinking, that's just bulk piss. But then I'm also thinking, like, or in 2024, is it an early tea time?
Early tea time, I think. Yeah.
And who are we to judge it? But I did read that Warner brought a nice couple of bottles of wines, and let's just hope, in the true Australian, tradition, they all get drunk and that there's a fight or something, and we bid farewell to David Warner's career.
Hopefully no one wants to get on James Packer's boat anytime soon, because that has caused nasty rifts in the Australian diaspora, cricketing-wise, for quite a period of time. And by that I mean people playing cricket overseas for Australia, apparently. Pez, I mean, I think it's really good. It's really great news for the Australian boys, because they get to do what I was doing this morning, playing golf. And people will ask me, where were you when Dave Warner was hit in front of all three? To be fair, I'd made it back by then. I was on the couch. But it's good news for the boys to wrap it up. You know what is actually seriously impressive? That it's like Pat Cummins has still never lost a test match in Australia as captain. Like that, and all of these like great records that I keep thinking about, like, let's celebrate the team, like in the foregrounds, not the background really, is it like, test cricket's kind of dead. And Pakistan don't play a test match. Well, Shah Massoud said they don't play for 10 months, but then he said that they play in August. So I'm not sure if there's a different calendar happening over there, but that's so. Either way, they don't play test cricket for a long time. Australia's only got a few tests really left this summer. This year themselves. But still, Australia, they've won this test match when it looked like it was going to be close yesterday afternoon until someone else did, someone being Josh Hazlewood, doing something amazing. They've cruised it this morning because of David Warner and Marnus Labuschagne. And so, like, guys just keep doing really good things. So at what point are you like, the opposition shit? But at what point are you like, oh, this is a fucking good team. It's a good team.
Well, I think it depends what generation you were born in, it seems. So I think they're pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. There'll be people who, are waving David Warner away and saying good riddance all the way to the end, because that's just the trench that they've dug and that they need to stay in. I prefer to, as it is with most people when they come to the end of anything, is look at the whole of it. And I think there's been too much focus on the what's he like as a bloke part of Warner, and even that part of Warner, what's he like as a bloke, I feel like it's still kind of in dispute a little bit. You won't find too many blokes who actually played with him who talk shit about him. Now, if you want to compare that to other guys who scored lots of runs for Australia from New South Wales, who retired in the last 10 years or so, that's different. There have been guys who've retired playing for Australia who've done really well, where most of the blokes who played with them are very happy to say, coat deluxe, no problem, and it's all understood. I think the jury's out among Warner's teammates, and they're the people who actually know him. So then you move from the what's he like as a bloke to what I think most adults would consider the important conversation at the end of someone's sporting career, which is the sporting
How
argument.
big's his penis?
Fuck. I knew I'd forgotten something in this analysis. I knew it. God damn, I don't even know what I'm going to say next. But for what it's worth, and obviously this is a second-order argument, but the sporting argument for Warner is just unassailable. And I think there's a very persuasive case that he's Australia's greatest ever 3-format player. Now, his contender would be Ponting, who probably would go close to being that had he had the opportunity to develop a bigger T20 body of work. But as it is, he didn't have that opportunity, Ponting, and we don't know how he would have gone there. Warner is a really, really unique player in that as the T20 format has grown and entrenched itself, he has been far and away in Australia its best exponent of all three formats as a balance, and a really good shout for one of Australia's greatest ever opening bats in Test cricket. So the sporting argument for him is just is unassailable, and we say goodbye to someone whose reputation and stature I think will grow in a sporting sense post retirement at Test level, when we realise how many times he gave Australia an incredible foundation through which to win a match, and he really put on an industry showcase today. It was a shorter innings at 54, but Pakistan were a slight chance as that innings began. Khawaja went early, and Warner just played that kind of knock where at 1 for 20 he'd hit a couple of boundaries, took full freight from a little bit of bad bowling, and Pakistan was gone. And Mana supported him there. It's really, really great to see him, booge blokes over the top, reverse sweep, slap them through the offside. It was nice to watch, and I, without wanting to be a nonce about it, appreciated it.
I just think, because I think that we won't realise how good the team is until about 5 years' time when they've all retired, and then we're suddenly quite mediocre again. Who knows what Test cricket even looks like then? But he is the first one to leave of this team, and the team has been amazing for 2 years at least. And I think his starts that he's given, and just even in the last 2 years, the partnerships that he's had with Khawaja, which maybe, and neither one of them have even reached 50, but I'm thinking about the Ashes, I've been thinking about in the first innings here, reaching towards 100 opening stands. That happened in Perth and in Melbourne, I think it did. Just how much easier that makes it for the rest of the guys. When whoever opens the batting next Test match, if that is Steve Smith, who's apparently said that he's open to doing it, pardon the pun, I suppose, we will begin to realise how good we had it. But that's not really our problem right now. That's future Australian cricket fans' problem, and we'll deal with that then. But I agree with you. I think the love for him might actually grow when he's not playing anymore. He's going to get better when he wasn't there. But we probably should have appreciated it more. But I suppose at the same time, the returns over the last 2 years in Test cricket for him haven't been great. But I guess he's done enough. And so as much as this whole summer for Australia has just been the what's he like as a bloke summer, Mitchell Johnson, what's he like as a bloke, David Warner, what's he like as a bloke, Tom Curran, what's he like as a bloke, Qantas baggage handlers, what's he like as a bloke.
Yep.
This is the next phase of the Australian cricket team, whatever that looks like, I suppose. And to see him leave is, it's something. We all watched it, right?
Yeah, it's the greatest thing you can say about the game at the moment. If you watch it, he's fucking going absolutely all guns blazing. This
wow,
sport.
okay,
Well,
you watched it.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sort of a bit nervous to admit it, but it's kind of damned with faint praise the amount of people who are saying say what you like about him, but you watch him, you're like, well, okay, I mean, it's funny how you point out that his returns diminished over the last 2 years, and that's true. That's just mathematical fact. What is also true is that all players who retire or get to 36, the eyes are basically painted on by the end, and they all have diminished returns. And his was roughly in line with everybody else who's been a great of the game whose returns diminish. On his side is that his team continued to win. basically. His returns weren't really a factor in any of the poor results that Australia had, and even if you want to go to the Ashes, his partnerships with Khawaja were helpful. They were. He wasn't able to solve the broad issue from around the wicket in England. Okay, fucking heaps of openers average 30 in England. Like it's just how it is. Okay, he couldn't sort out India. All right, like only the very, very greatest of the game can have, the entire thing sorted out. So his teams continued to win. You throw in some white ball cricket there where he's, hugely instrumental in winning a World Cup, months before he walks away from Test cricket. He finishes his final Test series averaging 57 or something like that. Anyone can make numbers go to work for you if you want. Turn over the numbers, go to work, dolls, etc., one-day jerseys. So, in his final series, he gets a daddy ton. He makes 50-odd in a tricky chase at the end. He retires at the SCG. Not a bad way to go out. He's still got some white ball cricket for Australia in him, and given he's got a commentary gig with Fox, he's going to be part of our summers for the next few years to come, and maybe we'll get to know him a little bit better. It's kind of an unpopular view, but speaking to players, I just don't think he's got. I just don't think the rap on Warner is as clear as a lot of people in comment sections will have you think. He clearly is abrasive and rubs people the wrong way with his actions, but it's still from afar. I don't know. I think it's been overblown a little bit, and I think that reasonable people can look at the sporting argument for him and go, yeah, good player.
It's just talking about like the beginning of the end of the team with him being the first retiree of this great team that we have. Whatever the lineup is, whatever the 11 that goes on the park for the Adelaide Test match in a few days' time, about 10 days' time or something like that against the West Indies, it's weaker than what this side is right now. Because I think Cameron Green's an excellent player if he comes in. And he will be and all that, and he's still a good player. Bancroft, Harris, the same. They are good players, but they are not as good as what Warner has been at home, especially. So automatically, right now, like the next Test match, the team will be slightly weaker. I still think they have enough to get past the might of West Indies D's. But still, it is interesting to think that we might actually begin to appreciate how good the team has been for a little while. Anyway, I just want to say as well, Pakistan, who have been actually really good value for this Test series. And I say that surprisingly because I thought they'd be fucking pump. And given that I know Shaheen took some wickets at the MCG, but apart from that, he's been unders, and he obviously didn't play the last Test match. Babar Azam now averages 25 in Australia, hasn't got going. Rizwan didn't play the first Test match. There's lots to suggest there to think like, Australia would probably win the series 3-0, and in many ways they have. But fuck, they've pushed Australia close in this game for a lot of it, and probably should have won the Boxing Day Test match. And I just think that the way that Shan Masood has composed himself and held him and his team in high regard, they're just super impressive, super impressive, and obviously. It helps from my perspective that, his English is outstanding. Given that Urdu is the national tongue of Pakistan and my Urdu is not very good, he speaks with great clarity, not just in his dialect of English, but just what he says. Such a nice gesture when Warner gets out and the whole team sent him off in a way that others might not have done. The way he handed Babar Azam's jersey to Warner and presented that in front of Ishiguro on the platform. There's just so much to admire about Shan Masood, who I think is just a fucking super impressive guy. I don't know if you want to add anything to that. I just wanted to say that I just think he's fucking impressive.
No, that's a really good shout, and obviously, yeah, we have to be magnanimous after a 3-0 win. But you are right. They have brought much more to this series than we had expected or had feared. Yes, it finishes 3-0, and yes, that is quite a sweet thing to be able to say. But in all seriousness, there was some really good Test cricket a lot of the time, and they exposed Australia on a number of occasions, and they will reflect on the series probably saying that while there were a super number of positives, not least the finding of Jamal Amir, Amir Jamal. We've never worked it out really, and I kind of like that too. But in all seriousness, why he didn't bowl the second innings until the end, I don't know. I'm hoping he had a niggle. Otherwise, it's just that's a blot on Shan Masood's copybook, I would say. But But yeah, like they brought great character, great zest, great fight, and we got to see much better Test cricket than we expected. Really, there was no procession at any time when the Aussies put together some good performances. Apart from Warner's daddy on day one, where it was like, holy shit, let's watch out for what this series might be. Really, most of Australia's good performances were in response to Pakistan taking it to them. You know, they sort of forced that response from Australia rather than Australia just putting the foot on the throat and saying, pack 'em. Pakistan will reflect on the series, though, aside from those positives, and just say, like, catching any danger, any danger.
Boys,
of taking
get
a
the training.
snare. And,
catch some balls.
And even that that afternoon session yesterday, where Hazelwood does the wicket dot, which felt awesome. There's the heavy roller effect this morning where the deck isn't doing much. You know, Rizwan and Amir are in, and you think, like, while Australia, Australians all will be thinking wickets are a fait accompli, those two are guys who you can say, with the greatest cliche, would have had other things in mind. Unfortunately, they got off to a decent start, but then the wickets tumbled, and from there it was pretty good for Australia. But then again with Pakistan, they got themselves back into the game as Sajid Khan opens the bowling and knocks over Khawaja straight away. And not only that, but Khawaja tried to take a review with him as well, given how out it looked. Now it was umpire's call, so he was okay in the end. But like, when Goffey's sticking the finger up, that's fucking out. Because
it's got to be pretty
because
good,
Goffey went back. He went back to the old the Goffey we know and love. After that, like, 1,000 reviews, had more fucking reviews than Don Argus, on David Warner. And Goffey's like, no way, finger in the holster. But so one for nothing. They were back in with a shout, and then they just Warner sort of took them on. They started to bowl shit, and then it was like when you play those kind of, 5th division soccer games, and you just know you're against a team who's up and about, but once you stick one past them, they're dead. And it was a bit like that.
Yeah. We should thank our dear sponsors right now, Pezza, Smith Optics Australia, smithopticsaustralia.com. Use the code FAST for 25% off your purchase at smithopticsaustralia.com. Now, if I can keep saying that over and over again, tell them,
Pezza. The sales are roaring. So now when you go on the Smith Optics homepage, TGC fans are leaving reviews. So we can just see how many people. So we've actually Brendan B, a verified buyer. It says he just left a review saying they're nervous, we're calm. And that's exactly how you'll feel with Smith Optics on, using the code FAST for 25% off. Fucking 3/4 of what you ordinarily would pay.
25% off. Get out of here.
Get out of here. Are you kidding? Children are scared. So quality reviews from TGC listeners and watchers alike. Leave those reviews if you like. Hazelwood's been on the green and gold vert from the start. And we all know how he performed, the vert pivlock, and the McGrath Foundation was behind it as well. I mean, everyone filing in behind TGC now, understanding what Smith Optics are and why it is that they are the shade you need over the old Marcus Byers this summer and beyond. Chroma Pop Vision taking over Australia. So once again, thanks to Smith Optics who've been with us. A great partner throughout this series and will be into the West Indies series as well.
It's just such a great alignment, and I'm really happy with the reach and the people are getting behind it. And fucking hell, everyone looks amazing in them. Me think it amazing. Anything else that happened in the game of cricket today? I guess the day started with Pakistan being 7 for spit. Yeah. Then they added a little bit, but then Lyon took 2 wickets. Cummins takes, Jamal caught on the boundary by Travis Head, trying to go the big tonk, as they would say in 1933. It was so the chase was 130. Khawaja goes early, and then it was pretty smooth sailing thanks to Marnus and Warner, and they end up getting it 2 wickets down. Marnus undefeated on 62 red. Smith not many runs because he wasn't in long before the game finished. I had like the SCG Test, Pezza, because obviously that's both where we're from, and that's where you get to watch the games of the Australian team play as a child, because it's close to your house in a sociological setting, and least of all geopolitically. And so like my first game that I ever went to was what I refer to as the Damien Martin game, where it was Australia against South Africa. They were chasing like 130 or something, and Damien Martin hit one to cover as the last recognised batsman. Then he didn't play again for 8 years. Such was the anger at Damien Martin for not winning that game. And so day 5 was the first day I ever went to in that run chase, because it was like gold coin to get in the ground, or maybe it was even free. This was so there's like 1992, 93, something like that. 94 was it? Okay, so I was 8.
Just at the start of 94.
When I see, right, okay, yeah. And so I still have like really happy memories of like the SCG test finishing, because I still like have like childhood memories from it. Like it's and it's just seeing like people like get around the square and going to a final day where they know it's probably going to go for one session. This day went for a session, then a little bit, session and half an hour, something like that. But it's got this real like summer school holiday vibe for me in my life. And like, I don't know, I think I'm just talking completely personally, because other people around the country and indeed the world won't have the exact same experience as me at the SCG test match. But I don't know, typically the SCG test has been the last of the summer. So it does feel like last day of school's out. I'm going to drink a soda pop now and watch cartoons for the rest of the day, which I'm going to do exactly the same as a 37-year-old. But I don't know. I suppose I have nice memories of the cricket. Is that a weird thing to say? Wowee. More revelations here.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say. It doesn't seem too difficult to find a conversation, if you look hard enough, between those not from New South Wales, questioning the credibility of the SCG test. And it seems to be a confluence of factors there. Like quite often it is a dead rubber due to the success of the Australian side. And then in the last couple of years, the pitch has been poor. That's not... It's just no exaggeration, and needs to be said, directly between the eyes. Then you throw in that the weather's been really poor for the last 4 or 5 years as well, possibly longer. It doesn't take people from interstate too long to want to sledge Sydney, and so they should. There's heaps to sledge about Sydney. It's our home, but we don't live there anymore. But so you do get people who are, who want to go after it. You have other cities that want that test match. They know that Boxing Day is immovable. So Adelaide has a lot of respect as a test match. Perth, believes it runs the Australian economy, so it has a right to the best test schedule, or best real estate in the 4-week calendar that we have in Australian cricket. And but I think the vistas are sensational. I think that when you get that backdrop of the members' stand and the tradition and history that invokes, I think that the SCG has developed a great, modern identity with the refurb of the ground, and I think the feel of the ground is from the people who go is really translates through the television. I think what they've done with the pink test and the identity they've given that test as well is a really friendly thing. I do think the crowd that goes to the SCG are very knowledgeable and appreciative as well. I'm not saying any more or less than other grounds, but they do go, and yeah, I mean, I just think that if we are in the fair income department, which is a department store that I occasionally frequent, not really, it's a really important part of the Australian summer, and I don't know if anyone's seriously questioning the credibility of the SCG test. I thought it, and
no.
I have to say, like, this test threw up some really good cricket and some close cricket. They clearly haven't sorted the deck out. The ball's hardly bouncing. It's rolling on day one, just about. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. They just have to do that work.
I haven't checked what our members at patreon.com/Great Cricketer have been saying today, but I'm going to guess there's been some satisfaction in the comments. And if you want to join the community we've got here at the Great Cricketer, you go to patreon.com/Great Cricketer. You can sign up for free if you want to. You won't get shit, but there is an option to do that. So if you want to do that, then I guess fill your boots. But if you actually want to join the community proper, then unfortunately you have to pay us money. So that's I know, and like, but if you don't want to do that, then don't. Like, please don't. If you don't want to do it, why would you do it?
Yeah, we're just saying that it's there. It's a like a kind of a stream of content that we offer beyond what you can get as it is like publicly. So you do a transaction online, and then you access further content. And all we're trying to say in this promotion that is actually like it's taking on its own life, where it's trying to be as prosaic and least kind of grabby and slogany as possible, is that like you're gonna get more words in the TGC vein from both the community and us, and those words are looser, they are darker, and they are rawer, and it's just simple exchange and transaction that takes place. And 4,000 people. It's only grown since it launched on, and I know this, August the 8th, 2020. You can go on graphtrian.com and see that all it does is grow. So people who come, they tend to stay because they think it's good value. And so what you do is you just go to that URL.
But what I'm saying is, if you don't want to go to patreon.com/Great Cricketer, then why the fuck would you go and pay it money? Like, why the fuck would you do it? Are you stupid? Like, if you don't want to do it, then don't do it. You fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Like, we were saying, like, if you don't want to, then all good. Like, that's fine. You get on with your life. Yes, Higgins is right. You're not only an idiot, you're a fucking idiot. No, you're not.
And a loser. Let us know in the comments what it's like to kiss a woman, if you have ever done that.
Yeah. I agree. That would be really helpful for a lot of people in Patreon. And not. But hey, I don't know if you noticed something. There was a little moment. I sort of got a little shiver at the presentation at the end where Pat Cummins announced Player of the Series. Well done, Pat. And then
he was given a solar panel.
Indeed, and. He was presented the Benno Kadir Trophy by Daphne Benno, which is obviously that's icon stuff. And I just noticed
tier.
Thank you. God tier iconography. And Daphne presented the big trophy to Cummo. And you know what she did? She stayed on the stage with him while he had the trophy. Yeah. And it just reminded me of another trophy that was presented where people cleared off. And I just thought it was nice that Daphne, Mrs. Benno, just stayed with Pat, and that was pretty cool. Yeah. Until someone said, "Listen, Daphne, it's time to go," and she was helped off the stage, and then the players came up on stage. I thought that was nice. I thought it was nicely done. The choreography of it just left me with hyaluronic acid. Just there's no crow's feet at all.
Let us know in the comments if you think Daphne Benno is going to win re-election. The main podcast is going to come out on Tuesday this week. The main podcast being our longer form conversation we have on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever you get this thing. That's going to come out on Tuesday. We've got a special guest in studio as well. We're excited for that. Should we say who that is? So just to put pressure on him or her.
Look, we've talked about him for many years, and we're just glad to have him in person. But we've talked about it for many years. But Bo Webster, aka Slug, will be joining us on the couch on Tuesday. And it's going to be great to see Slug.
Yeah, that's going to be good stuff. Hey Pezza, I'm going to the Big Bash tonight. I'm seeing Green vs Pink. I'm going to the MCG. I'm going to watch Green vs Pink. I don't know if everything's okay with me, but I'm going. It's something for the eyes, and I'll have to report back to that on when we speak again on Tuesday. I hope everyone has the most wonderful weekend. I hope you get time off. Unfortunately, the cricket won't be on during the day for you to walk in and out of rooms on your Sunday or for the rest of this Saturday afternoon. But I hope you've had a joyous new year, and I hope you have a great weekend. And we'll see you coats on the internet on Tuesday. Cheers.